Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Kalispell, Montana, this is your host, Adam Graham. In a moment, we're going to bring you this week's episode of Mr. and Mrs. North. And after we finish talking about the episode, I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing in Kalispell. But first, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And I do want to remind you that I do have a Cameo available where I will record a short video for your special occasion. You can go to cameo.greatdetectives.net to take advantage. Now, from October the 11th, 1944, here is The North Discover Christopher Columbus.
Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
You're lovely, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause you're lovely, just the way you look.
Woodbury, the makers of Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap made for the skin alone, presents The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North. The Norths have taken to going for long walks these autumn evenings. There was a time when Jerry toyed with the theory that if they remained quietly at home, trouble would never find them. But it did. So Jerry changed his plans. Decided that it might be wiser if Pan and himself made things a little more difficult for trouble by offering it a moving target. And so tonight we find the Norths in motion. Not a target, they hope, but definitely moving.
Jerry. Your legs are longer than mine. But mine are cuter.
Are they? I must look sometime.
Oh, I'll stop.
Not bad.
Not bad. Jerry, I'll have you know that my legs were considered one of the most attractive features at Miss Peters' finishing school today.
Miss Peters certainly wasn't.
She was a very dear old lady, although she was hipped on the subject of dating. Which reminds me, Jerry, tomorrow is Columbus Day.
Is it? We must remember to send him a card. Columbus Day.
Columbus discovered America tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Isn't he a little late?
Not tomorrow in 1944. Tomorrow in 1492.
That helps. Seems like only yesterday.
Although he was really looking for India.
Darling, I'm very proud of your education, but why although?
Oh, stop it. Jerry. Do you think there was anything between him and Queen Isabella?
Sure, King Ferdinand.
They say the Nevada climate is wonderful at this time of year, especially in Reno.
What grounds would you claim for divorce?
Mental cruelty, that's it.
I could easily do worse. For example, I might say something about his carrying along a pinter for a niner. See?
Darling, I believed you when you said you could do much worse. You didn't have to prove it.
As a matter of fact, I thought that was pretty good. Let's see.
Jerry North, if you're trying to think up another one of those awful jokes...
Oh, they're not that bad. And what's the matter?
I just saw a man jump out of a window.
You what?
Dropped in that alleyway right ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes, darling.
Oh, he's in a hurry.
The only thing, darling...
Yeah?
He looks like... Jerry, I'm not making this up, and I'm not crazy, because it's your Aunt Agatha who's eccentric, and I haven't touched the ground.
And what did he look like?
Christopher Columbus.
Like a... Oh, no, darling. Columbus is dead. He discovered America tomorrow in 1492, and...
This is the alleyway. Honestly, Jerry.
Something's coming out of it. He couldn't have been hurt. Found it dark in here.
There he is.
No, I've got it.
Let me go, please.
A little second story work, friend. Come out here in the light.
Yeah, let me go. I'm in danger. My life's in danger.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Who are you, anyway?
I'm Christopher Columbus.
Oh, no, you're not. I went to school. We'll get you out in the light.
Jerry, he is Christopher Columbus. Look.
Hey, Joe, I gotta get away.
Dressed like Columbus. Resemblance, but why do you have to get away?
They're after me. They'll kill me.
Why?
Because they want the jewels, don't you see?
What jewels?
The crown jewels, of course. The ones the Queen gave me.
Jerry, the Queen.
Yes, Isabella. Don't like to do this.
Jerry! Oh, darling, did he hurt you?
No, I just like it down here. Oh.
Your jaw, darling.
A mere nothing. That lump on it probably becomes me.
We've got to notify the police.
Sure. I'll tell them Christopher Columbus stalked me. I don't know what the visiting hours at Belgium's psychopathic are, darling, but you'll find out.
Well, I can back up your story.
Sure. Then we'll have adjoining padded cells. What happened to good old Chris?
Oh, he ran up the street. I didn't notice because I was so worried about you.
So am I. About all I need for my mental health right now is to see Queen Isabella yodeling at me.
Jerry!
Huh?
If you look up at that building,
Yeah?
you will see Queen Isabella.
What? Leaning out of the window. Sam, I'm seeing it too.
That's the window Columbus jumped out of.
Maybe King Ferdinand got home too soon. Oh, no, Pam, this is impossible. We've got...
The light went out.
The light went out. And there are about 1 million windows in that building, and both Christopher Columbus and Queen Isabella have been dead for about 400-odd years. And we're Pam and Jerry North, and we're going right home. That is, if we still have a home, which I'm beginning to doubt on account of maybe we haven't been discovered yet. Taxi!
Well, all I can say, darling, is maybe Columbus discovered America. But it took us to discover Columbus.
400 years later, Get in, darling. Anybody in there already, like George Washington, maybe?
George Washington's birthday's in February.
Oh, of course. How could we expect to see him tonight? Driver.
Yeah?
24 St. Anne's Place. And don't go around the Cape of Good Hope if you can help it.
Cape of Good Hope? Where's that, Brooklyn?
It could be. You better get started. My wife's a little upset.
Fight, huh?
Not exactly. As a matter of fact, I'm a little nervous, too.
Just so. Me, I got nerves like iron. Sylvester, the little woman, says to me, you got nerves like iron. Why have I got nerves like iron, sister? On account I eat carrots. You eat carrots?
Sometimes.
I eat them all the time. I got a few here right now. Would you like one?
Oh, no thanks. Because of ghosts.
What's ghost got to do with it?
Well, if you eat a lot of carrots, you can see in the dark. And if you can see in the dark, you can see ghosts. And if there are any ghosts, I'd rather not see them. So
Hey, what happened? Looks like some guy decided to take a nap in the middle of the street. I'd better waken him on account of it ain't healthy.
Jerry, is everybody crazy, or is it just the people we meet?
I don't know. I wouldn't care to go on record.
Hey, how you do?
Yeah, what is it?
I would like to step out, take a look at the guy in the middle of the street.
Why? Is there anything wrong with it?
I ain't saying until you two see him too. That is, if you see him.
All right, Pam.
Tell me, Don.
You couldn't wake him?
I wouldn't even try, mister. There's a possibility he ain't there. Maybe there was something in them carrots. I don't know, but... do you see him?
Jerry, it's...
Uh-huh. You see him too, lady.
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Oh, does he look dressed a little peculiar to you with maybe tights and funny shoes?
He does.
And furthermore, lady, does he remind you of somebody that maybe you ain't personally acquainted with but you've seen before?
You mean Columbus?
Lady, that is exactly what I mean. Christopher H. Columbus. I've had a look at him.
Is he Columbus?
Maybe, but...
Sleeping?
Not exactly. I tried to wake him, but I'm afraid he isn't going to wake anymore. You see, somebody just cracked Miss Christopher Columbus's skull for him. And he's quite dead. Again. The adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North and the Woodbury Facial Soap program will continue in just a moment. But first, this is Ben Grauer with the story of the exciting wartime romance of the lovely Woodbury dead, Patricia O'Neill Goodlett. As soon as you hear the story, you'll know why Patsy never neglects her daily complexion care with Woodbury Facial Soap. It seems that Navy Lieutenant George Goodlett had a letter of introduction to beautiful Patricia, but no time to present it when he went through town. He did, however, take time to notice the sweet, fresh loveliness and radiant complexion of the motor corps volunteer who drove him from the station to his boat. The Navy lieutenant was very impressed. And yes, you guessed it. The pretty volunteer turned out to be Patsy herself. There was a very fast courtship, and when George returned from the South Pacific, and soon her friends were giving bridal showers for lovely Patricia. Now, the romance of that particular Woodbury deb is a tribute to the cherishing, beauty-giving care of Woodbury Facial Soap. It gives your skin gentle, thorough care, protecting your most precious, winning charm. The Woodbury soap can do that because it's a true complexion soap, made in cake form only. It is made for the skin alone by famous skin specialists. And particularly important to your complexion loveliness, Woodbury contains a special ingredient for special mildness. Now, girls, don't wait another day, but begin right away with Woodbury. Let it make your complexion so fresh, so soft and smooth that you're bound to win the heart of the man who matters most. Ask for Woodbury, Woodbury, Woodbury Facial Soap. Beauty soap for the skin you love to touch. And now, back to the Woodbury Facial Soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
a murder, Bill.
That was the North. What else would it be? All right, who got killed? When, where, why, and who did it?
I'm afraid Jerry and I don't know the answer to all those questions.
Okay, we'll start with the court. Who is it?
Christopher Columbus.
Who?
Christopher Columbus.
I thought that was what you said. Sam, have you been eating all the olives and Jerry's dry martinis again?
Jerry will tell you the same thing.
Why not? He's been drinking them. Sam, who is it?
Christopher Columbus.
How would you like yourself, Janet? The reason?
Honestly, Bill, I'm not joking.
No? Well, if you found a corpse in Columbus, and that America hasn't been discovered yet, no New York, telephone hasn't been invented, and I'm going to sleep, I need to work.
Bill Wigan. We found a murdered man on Central Avenue and 12th Street. You'd better send a policeman down.
Oh, no. But that's when I'm coming myself. How would I explain the excitement? Insanity.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Jerry and I'll be waiting for you. Bye.
And au revoir, Pamela. Oh, let me add one thing.
Yes.
You and your husband go around digging up bodies 400 years old. You'll have to keep them yourself.
Well, there goes Christopher Columbus to the morgue.
Connie will like him.
Connie likes all these guests.
We've never had such an historical one before.
Or one dead for so long. Seriously, I wish we knew who he really was and why he was in costume and made up to look like Christopher Columbus.
Tomorrow's Columbus Day, Bill. He was probably taking part in a play or something.
I guess so. Think he was murdered because he was a bad actor?
He wasn't supposed to be murdered, Bill. He was supposed to have been run over accidentally. If our taxi driver hadn't had such good eyesight in the dark,
Due to eating carrots all the time.
he would have run over Columbus. And then that gash in his skull would have been attributed to the car.
Uh-huh. I personally am going to send a bushel of carrots to that driver. Well, there's nothing more to be done tonight. I hope.
No, Bill, I don't think so. You see, he must have been murdered for tomorrow.
In the same way that Columbus discovered America tomorrow?
Yes, darling. Tomorrow is the important day.
Well, we should be able to find out who the guy really was by then, why he was running.
Or maybe, Bill, why he had to be killed tonight.
Ham. Coffee. You're pouring it, dear. At least you were about to.
Oh, no. Jerry, in this paper...
I like breakfast. Some morning I should love to eat one.
But, darling, it's important. There's an article in the paper about the Columbus Day celebration, and it mentions the fact that the famous jewelry firm of Arcady is staging a tableau about Columbus.
Let's see that. Sitting on the scene, the team is about to hand over the crown jewels to Columbus to finance his trip.
And they're using their finest and most valuable jewels in the tableau.
Good publicity.
Maybe, darling. It wasn't good for Columbus.
You mean last night? Of course, there must be a connection. He said something about the jewels being in danger. Oh, well, the devil with breakfast. I'd never managed to get a real one in the past. Why start now?
Then we're going...
To Arcady, the jewelers of distinction. Not to mention, I suspect, the jewelers with a corpse to explain.
Well, how do you do? I'm Mr. Winters. You wanted to see me?
My name is Gerald North, and this is my wife.
How do you do?
Well, how do you do, Mrs. North? Just married, eh? A gift for the bride, young man. A necklace, perhaps. I'll have one of mine then.
I'm sorry, Mr. Winters, but we haven't come to buy anything. We came to you because you're manager of Arcady, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
There was an item in this morning's paper about a tableau that Arcady Jewels is putting on as part of a Columbus Day celebration.
So we are.
Well, I'm afraid we have bad news for you. If your Columbus is missing.
I never had a Columbus in my life. What? Oh, you mean Spindrift?
Do I?
Head of the buying department, Spindrift. Best man we have on the trade. Looks like Columbus. What about it?
Where is he?
How could I know? Had some silly rehearsal last night. Won't be in till later.
Mr. Windle, I'm afraid Mr. Spindrift isn't coming in at all.
You don't mean he's left the firm?
No. He's left...
Why doesn't he answer his phone after jumping out the window last night?
I'm very busy, Sandra. Run along.
Oh, perhaps, I'm Sandra Stone.
Yes, good.
Mr. Oh, detective. I'm sure that's exactly what we needed. Oh, Mr. Wendell, you're so clever for having gotten in touch with me so quickly.
Still, Sandra? I would. Now, Mr. North, you were saying that Spindrift isn't returning here. Why?
Because he's dead.
Good. Well,
Dear, that's most inconvenient. We shall have to find another appraiser, which, young man, is no easy thing to do. And furthermore...
we have no Columbus.
We have no...
Good Lord, Sandra, be still.
I won't be still. Hank's all up this publicity stunt. Yes, Miss Jane. Hank's publicity man for Orchid, and I love him.
Sandra, this is no place for discussing affairs of the heart.
I'm not, but the firm will just have to do the tableau.
Well, we can get somebody else. You consider it send it to die just at this time?
He had no particular choice in the matter, Mr. Wendell. He was murdered.
What?
There was something else. He was worried about the jewels before he was killed. Are they safe?
In our vault, young woman, no danger there.
Then Pam was right. The day was the reason for the murder last night.
Yes, sir. I beg your pardon.
Mr. Wendell, we've got to get another Columbus. I know. Hank. He's just the same size as Kendrick, and he's much more handsome.
What's Columbus?
And he'll be glad to do it because it was all his idea. And, oh, Mr. North, don't you think that's a wonderful solution?
Well, perhaps. For everyone but Fendrick.
However, it is possible.
Oh, Pam.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, just one thing, Miss Stone. When Hank wants to pick up the Columbus costume, I'm afraid he'll have to apply at the morgue.
Bill.
Oh, hello, Pam. Hiya, Jerry.
Hello, Bill. Everything set?
Yeah, the place is guarded by a dozen men. Wendell's going to open the vault in a moment, turn the jewels over to Hank Sawyer, the guy who's playing Columbus. Then these guards will escort Sawyer and Miss Stone.
Queen Isabella.
All right, Queen Isabella to the hall where they're doing the stunt and on the float on which they're going to the hall. The instant the curtain goes down on the tableau, Wendell's arranged for an armored car to take the jewels back to the vault.
Well, that seems to take care of everything, doesn't it, Bill?
It had better. I'm pretty sure it will.
I suppose Fender's murder will have to wait till after the jewels are returned safely. But since he never had the jewels, I can't understand why he was killed.
Well, it might have been that... Here comes Hank Sawyer now. Oh, I guess Connie finally parted with the Columbus costume. Mr. Sawyer.
Oh, hello, Lieutenant. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. North. Hello. The man down the morgue seemed to think I was trying to rob a friend of his.
Oh, Connie loves all his corpses. You look very well in that costume, Mr. Sawyer.
Oh, thanks. I guess I'd better run now. I'm a bit late. See you later. Window's opening the vault.
Give him half the jewels. Oh, Jerry, that's gorgeous.
Restrain yourself, my love. I can't afford them.
Not even one?
I can barely afford to have you look at them. Bill.
Oh, there they go. And we're going with them every inch of the way.
It's a wonderful parade, Jerry.
Uh-huh. We should be getting to the hall soon.
Couple of minutes.
Hank looks beautiful as Columbus, doesn't he?
That pile of jewels in his hand looks even more beautiful. Besides, I prefer Sandra.
Oh, she's too thin.
Not necessarily. So was Queen Isabella.
Was she, Jerry?
Oh, sure. My interest is purely historical.
It had better be. Otherwise, your existence will be past history, darling. Tableau is exquisite, Jerry.
Uh-huh. With 12 policemen surrounding the stage, it's also protected.
Seems to be almost over. Let's just that.
Right. Just on the idea. Through this door. There.
Uh-huh.
Hello, Bill. Almost over, huh?
Yeah, just a second. All right, boys, on stage. Mr. Wendell.
Yes, right behind you, Lieutenant.
We'll get the jewels, escort them to the armored car, and then that will be that.
I hope so.
Ah, there. Hey. Well, Wendell. That's a blow. Look.
Never mind the tableau, my boy. The jewels, please.
Oh, sure.
Hank is absolutely the handsomest Columbus I've ever seen. What's the matter?
Matter? These things you gave me, young man. What about them? They happen to be false.
Oh, you two still here?
Yes, Bill. What,
Well, the jewels Sawyer gave Wendell are for me. He's going to stay in jail for a long time, and maybe not for so long.
What do you mean, Bill?
Fendrick.
You think Hank murdered her?
I don't know yet, but we'll find out.
Bill, are you
Now, look, Jerry. From the moment Wendell handed the jewels to Hank Sawyer, the moment he handed them back to the window, Sawyer and the girl were under constant watch.
Then you believe Hank Sawyer did it?
Of course. Now, here's the way I figure it. Sawyer killed Fendrick because he knew he himself was the only guy around who could fit the costume and play Columbus in the tent. He had a perfect setup. He could swipe the jewels, substitute the phonies, and clear out. Two things crossed him up. You and Wendell spotting the phonies immediately.
Bill, can Pam and I see Hank for a minute?
Why?
Because we have a hunch. We were talking about it while we were having lunch. We also paid a visit to the 5 and 10.
Well, to yourselves, you two probably sound logical as anything, but to ordinary people... Okay, I'll have him brought in. Mind if I stay?
Oh, no, Bill, because you may have to be a witness.
I wish I knew what for. Julie, bring the Sawyer in. Any objection to telling me exactly what you bought in the final bag?
Please, Bill. Just imitation jewelry.
Oh, Hank.
Hank, did you steal the jewels?
Of course I didn't. You think I'm crazy?
What do you think these are worth?
What? Oh, I don't know. How much is that?
$1,000 for a necklace.
It's all right. Listen, you didn't call me in just to discuss the jewel business.
No, Hank. As a matter of fact, we're through. So long. So long, Bill.
Hey, now wait. Where are you going?
Home.
To think.
What about?
Well, for one thing, why Columbus was killed.
And for another, who's guilty?
And for a third, where was Ferdinand when Isabella handed over the jewels to Christopher? The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North and the Woodbury Facial Soap program will continue in just a minute. First, in a small home in Westchester, the other evening.
Good night. What a thing to do. I don't care. Sis always goes out with the nicest boys and to parties and things while I'm just as pretty. There, Jean, of course. But, darling, Mary's complexion is... Why don't you try that special complexion soap that Mary's been using lately? Let's go upstairs right now and give you a Woodbury facial cocktail. You know, they do say the facial cocktail is the beauty care of all these pretty Woodbury guests.
And how delighted young Jean must have been after her first Woodbury facial cocktail with Woodbury facial soap. You see, the Woodbury facial cocktail is the before-date beauty care of the Woodbury Debs because it helps make your skin more appealing right away. You just pat Woodbury's creamy lather into your skin, rinse with warm water, then cold. And then when you look in your mirror, you see that your skin is brighter. It has soft, glowing radiance, and you're ready to meet your date or romantic fate, knowing that your complexion is sweet and fresh, all smooth and nice for his eye. Begin tonight with Woodbury, Woodbury, Woodbury Facial Soap. Beauty soap for the skin you love to touch. And now, back to the Woodbury Facial Soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
More bacon, darling?
Oh, this breakfast is one I'm going to finish. Because we know who killed Columbus, and why, and how the jewels were stolen. Oh, Pam, you answer it.
All right, darling. Hello? Yes? What? What did you say, Bill? You did? Oh, you shouldn't have done that, because he didn't. And since he didn't, he will be. What? Oh, no, never mind. Goodbye. Jerry, they've released Hank.
Good Lord. Come on, darling, we gotta hurry.
But your breakfast...
Tomorrow, maybe. It's tomorrow in 1994. Hurry, Pam.
I am hurrying. Oh, I do wish Hank lived in an elevator apartment.
We went to the office after leaving jail, then we're supposed to go home. We may be in time.
Jerry, why was he released?
Because his lawyer pointed out that although he may have been the only man who could have stolen the jewels, according to the police themselves would be forced to alibi him.
You mean because they'd have to swear that he had no chance to hide the real jewels anywhere, or to get rid of them?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're on his floor. In the corridor. Hank, he's going into his apartment.
Oh.
Hank! Hank, stop! Quick, hit the floor! Down, you fool!
Hey, you knocked me down.
What did you? I did. Stay away from the door, Pam. We're all right.
I don't think there's going to be any more shots. Our voices would have been heard.
All right, Hank, get up. Hi. If you saved my life, never mind that now. Come on in. There's no one... Oh, excuse me. Sandra.
I didn't fire any gun. I don't even know
But
how.
those bullets...
They came from that window behind me. I couldn't see. I was so afraid. I screamed. Oh, Hank, I love you.
Suppose we save all that. We're going to see the man from whom these jewels were stolen, Sandra. Maybe you'll be able to explain to him. Or maybe not.
Oh, this is very late, Mr. North. My butler wakes me, but
I'm sorry, Mr. Wendell, but we needed your help to clear up this business of the Eagles and Spenders murder.
Could have waited till morning.
I'm afraid not.
Rubbish. Well, I see the police have released you, Hank.
Yes.
Mr. Wendell, is that really news to you?
What?
Or do you usually sleep in pajamas in your suit shoes?
Huh? Oh, that. Well, I hate slippers. You see, never wear anything. Look here, young woman.
And never mind that. Mr. Wendell, the key to the whole problem lies in the murder of Spenders. Why was he killed?
Mr. North, if you wake me at this hour,
I'll tell you why. Because then Hank would have to play Columbus.
That proves his guilt, doesn't it?
Oh, no, because you see, the police can swear that he's innocent. He'd have disposed of the real jewels because he was watched all the time. He would have disposed of the real jewels. Not even found them.
I'm sure.
Mr. Wendell, that's never real jewel.
What? You mad?
No. Remember I said the real key lay in Spender. We now can realize he had to be killed. The reason was expert. Spender recognized that the jewels you handed him, Mr. were false.
And he proved that Hank could tell real jewels from false ones in front of Lieutenant White.
Oh, fantastic theorizing.
Hardly. You don't own Arcady. You just manage the place. Therefore, a perfectly sound motive.
Ridiculous.
And there's another reason why we know it isn't all theory. You see, when you tried to kill Hank on his release from jail...
Are you out of your mind?
In order to make sure he didn't stumble on the true explanation, Sandra saw you outside the window.
That's impossible. It was too dark.
That, Mr. Wendell, does it. Especially since Sandra really didn't see you.
Home at last. Mr. Wendell's in jail, and Hank and Sandra in love. Oh, it's going to be so good to see.
Mm-hmm. And not so fast, my little prairie flower. Into the kitchen with you, my love.
Oh, but
It
Jerry...
may be midnight. We may have solved the crime. Other people may be fast asleep or having a late snack, but, darling, we're the Norths, and so we're a little crazy, and so, by heavens, midnight or not, I'm going to have my breakfast. Tune in again next week at this same time for another adventure of Mr. and Mrs. North, starring Alice Frost and Joseph Curtis. For thrills and laughs, be sure to listen, won't you? Music for Mr. and Mrs. North is conducted by Charles Paul. Here's a thrill you can't afford to miss. It's a half hour packed full of laughs, chills, and thrills. Don't miss the new Woodbury comedy mystery program starring Gloria Blondell and Carlton Young over another network starting this Sunday. That's Sunday, October 15th, for Hollywood Mystery Time. Don't forget, consult your newspaper for time and station. This is Ben Brower saying goodnight for Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
You're lovely, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause you're lovely, just the way you look tonight.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Welcome back. Okay, this is the greatest Columbus Day radio detective program in circulation. To be fair, there are only two, but this one does Columbus Day at a level no one else ever did Columbus Day over radio. The only other one was an episode of Jeff Reagan with Jack Webb. I do wish that the audio were in better shape. We have improved versions of so many episodes that have been around for years, but not this one. Listening to this episode, I do hear why I never noticed Frank Lovejoy worked on Mr. and Mrs. North. Because most of the previous versions of circulating episodes sounded a lot like this one, and I could not recognize Lovejoy's voice based on this episode. Well, now we turn to listener comments and feedback. And we have a couple of comments regarding Hearthstone of the Death Squad and the $50 murder case. Thanks for scheduling this one, Adam. It's always fun to hear a show I never knew existed. I have to say I thought it was Carl Swinson in the lead role. I could hear him barking at just about everybody like good old Mr. Chameleon. The writing was as close to atrocious as you can get, but it was still fun to hear. Not sure I'd think so after a steady diet of Inspector Hearthstone, though. Thanks, Emmett. And then we have a comment from Elwood who writes, is it just me, or did the Hummerts have a rule that all actors had to be over the top like parodies of bad acting? I think it's fair to say that there was a general house style that dominated the Hummert productions. However, in offering our modern critiques, we have to acknowledge the reason for its existence. It worked. The Hummerts not only created many shows, they created many shows that were ratings gold. I love random stories that people post online where they find the radio ratings for a given week. And on practically any given week, you've got 2 or 3 different Hummert shows that are somewhere in the mix of the top-rated programs. So, in our modern critiques, I am someone who would much rather listen to Philip Marlowe and Dr. Tim Detective, and of course, Dragnet and Johnny Dollar. But the Hummerts were geniuses at providing the entertainment that folks seemed to demand at that time. That doesn't make it good, but it does make it successful, which illustrates the difference between the two. Essentially, the Hummerts found something that worked and said, let's just keep doing that over and over and over again. And that kind of becomes self-derivative production. Thankfully, media companies don't do that today, right? Regarding the episode Red Wine, Ryan Sir asked, is the red wine from Petri? No, even though they did take the time to bring you good wine, I don't think that they were quite up to the extravagant taste of the escaped murderer / wine connoisseur. Alright, now on to what I am doing in Kalispell. I'm actually proud that I got Kalispell out in the first take. There was a little bit of a gap of silence between From and Kalispell as I realized, no, you're not speaking from Boise, Idaho. When I was in Orlando, I had a heck of a time with that. I had to re-record the openings several times because I began with From Boise when I was in Orlando. But I digress. The reason I'm in Montana is that I'm visiting my father, who is having some health issues, and they're still trying to get to the bottom of all that's going on. I'm visiting and working from my hotel room and getting as much time in with my family in this brief visit as I can. I don't think we will miss any podcasts, but we'll continue to play things by ear. And if you're a praying person, your prayers for the entire situation and certainly for my family hearing what they're working through, as well as for my dad's health, are definitely appreciated. Now it is time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day. And I want to thank James, Patreon supporter since July 2022, currently supporting the podcast at the Detective Sergeant level of $7.14 or more per month. Thank you so much for your support, James. And that will do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And be sure and rate and review the podcast wherever you download it from. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Mr. and Mrs. North. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives, and check us out on Instagram. Instagram.com/Great Detectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.